shoot, no, I pressed the wrong one. No. No.
There we go, got it.
So ionic bonding is when electrons are transferred from one atom to the other. It's covalent bonding, or not ionic, whenever they are shared. Protons do nothing for bonding and chemical reactions. Proton just tells you what atom you have. The valence electrons that do all the work. What type of charge do cations have?
Today,
So cations have a positive charge.
Oh, cations. I read the thing. I didn't know what that meant.
What type of charge do compounds have?
Not negative. I got it.
Neutral or zero are both acceptable answers. It has no charge. It has a neutral charge. Or it has a charge of zero. Because all the inner charges cancel each other out. What is the cation in the compound LiOH? So again, the ion element or molecule with a charge. Not Li, Li plus 1.
Yeah,
You have to include the element and the charge when you say ion. And we often omit ones. You need to move up to see. So, sodium is plus 1. Fluorine is minus 1. Their charges cancel, so you only need one of each. So it's NaF. Y'all are going to need a periodic table and y'all's off your notes.
yeah, I just have to look at the
Y'all need y'all's periodic table almost every single day.
I do it.
Except for on test day, I'll provide you with a new one. Y'all ready? So magnesium and sulfur. Should really just be able to look at it. Oh, we've used magnesium and sulfur too much. Magnesium is plus 2. Sulfur is minus 2, so the charge is already canceled. So we only need one magnesium to cancel out the charge of the sulfur. So it's MgS. Aluminum and oxygen. What's the chemical formula for aluminum and oxygen? So aluminum is +3 and oxygen is -2. So crisscross. The 2 from the oxygen is going to go to aluminum, and the 3 on the aluminum is going to go to the oxygen, making it Al2O3. That's aluminum oxide. So barium is +2. Iodide, ion of iodine, is -1. So we need 2 iodide ions to counteract the +2 charge here. 2 times -1 gives you, that will counteract the +2 here, so it's BaI2. What about this one? So 8 ending, this is going to tell you it's an oxy ion of chlorine. So chlorine, oxy ion, an oxy ion tells you that it has oxygen attached with chlorine. So this is the only one that has oxygen attached to it. And if you look at the table of oxy ions for the 8 versions, you will see that chlorate is ClO3 -1. Lithium is +1, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So the 8th version of nitrogen is NO3 -1. But this has ite on it. So that means remove 1 oxygen. The NO3 -1 becomes NO2 -1. Magnesium is a +2, so we need 2 nitrite ions. So 2 of these to counteract the magnesium. So IDE is for elements with no oxygen attached to them. IDE is just for a single element of sulfur, or just the element sulfur with no oxygen attached. And sulfur has a -2, sodium a +1, so it's Na2S. So, sulfate with an ATE on the table would be SO4 -2. The ite means remove one oxygen, so it becomes SO3 -2. There's a +1 sodium, so we need 2 of them to counteract the charges. So it's Na2SO3. So the only difference between this one and the last problem is they added the word hypo. The last problem was Na2SO3 was the answer. So adding hypo, it means remove it. Another way is, again, you look up at your table. Sulfate is SO4 -2. Hypo and ite means remove one oxygen each, so we'll remove 2 of them. So SO4 becomes SO2. And again, we need 2 sodium. This is wrong, put green. It is supposed to have a 4 here. Sulfate is SO4. So it should be Na2SO4, not 3.
Oh.
So all compounds have no charge. If we break this apart, we see oxygen. Oxygen always has a -2 charge, so to counteract that charge, -2 charge, the iron must have a +2 charge. So +2 and -2 make it neutral. You aren't doing so well. So you can think of the reverse crisscross. We put Fe and oxygen up here. Oxygen has a -2 charge, so the 2 would go to the Fe, or the 2 here would go to the oxygen. That's how it came. Thus the 3 must go up to the Fe, and that would represent Fe with a +3 charge.
Yeah.
So the 2 is called a subscript, and it represents how many hydrogen you have. The top choices are coefficients, and the bottom one is subscript. The left hand is number of hydrogen, right hand is number of H2O molecules. Question is, what does 3 represent? So this is the same size as the rest of them, so it uses the word co, or suffix co. can coexist with them. And it tells you how many total you have of H2O. So, tin-4 has a +2 charge. Oxide has a -2 charge. So to cancel out charges, you need 2 oxides to counteract the +4 charge here. So -2 times 2 gives you -4. And -4 cancels out the +4. If you do crisscross method to solve this, note, if you can divide by 2 and reduce it, you have to do that. We look for the formula unit, which is the lowest combination. The ratio 2 to 4 is the same as the ratio 1 to 2. 4 is double of 2, so you can reduce it. So the fact that it has multiple charges tells you have to use Roman numerals. Chlorine has a -1 charge. To counteract that -1 charge, copper must have +1. So it would be copper 1 chloride. Note, you can immediately rule out this one because it uses algebra, or it uses Arabic numbers. We write our numbers in Latin for things with multiple charges. By the way, how many of y'all knew that our number system is Arabic? We use the Arabic number system, the Latin alphabet. Yeah, these numbers are Arabic. There was 2 major numbering systems. Latin wasn't good for math. Hindi and Arabic won outside of India. That's the word. The word algebra is actually a Arabic word. So only one sulfur, or one type of atom. There's no oxygen attached to it, so we're going to use the IDE ending.
I knew what it was when I took the wrong.
So we have an oxygen attached to chlorine, so you know this is an oxyanion. So if you look up the oxyanion for chlorine, chlorate, you see ClO3. But this only has one oxygen. So to go from 3 to 1, you need to remove 2 oxygens. And when you remove 2 oxygens, you need to add ite and hypo to it. So it becomes calcium hypochlorite. So, if you look up the oxy ion for sulfur, sulfate, you see it's SO4. We have an additional oxygen, so going from 4 to 5, that means you should add the prefix per to it. So it's a negative ion.
Oh, didn't know for that. Oh,
So phosphorus is in group 5A, so it has 5 valence electrons.
who's that number of cost of -3? Positive 3.
So if it has 5 valence electrons, it has a negative 3 charge. Last one. So plus 2 and negative 2 cancel each other out. So you only need one copper for every one sulfate or sulfite. So copper sulfite is CuSO3.
Yep, I know -3.
I definitely need to study. Yeah, a little section bit. Yeah, it's just take a second. There will also be on the test a grid, just like Monday's homework. So, simple grid. We have a plus 1 here and a negative 2 here. So we need 2 of these charges. So we put NH4 and we double it. And then write down SO4. We have a plus 1 and a minus 1. They cancel each other out. So just NH4 ClO2. What would be this one? NH4 plus 1 and nitride. What would be the next one?
Nitrate and Mg nitrate. Nitrate has negative 3, so then it would be Mg negative 3.
We're doing this one. NH4, 3, and so you need 3 plus 1 charges to counteract the negative 3 on nitride. Nitride, even though I use the word, is just N negative 3, but you should at least recognize that nitride is N negative 3, and it just represents like that. Otherwise, you'll miss the whole column. And be careful in case you use nitrate. You should recognize that nitrate is NO3 negative 1. So oxygen, and then we need 2 of these plus charges to get rid of the negative 2. So it would be NH4, 2. Oh. Plus 2 and minus 2 is a 1-to-1 ratio. Plus 2 and minus 1, we need to double that. So MgClO2. This is where crisscross would really come into play. So 3 is going to go to the magnesium. 2 is going to come over here. Plus 2 and minus 2 cancel each other out. Again, if you like to do crisscross for everything, then you just have to make sure when you get this, you recognize that the 2's can simplify. When you crisscross, you can simplify the 2's. We need 2 lithium for ever sulfate. We need, that's a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's just lithium chloride. We need 3 lithium. And we need 2 lithium here. So you have a table, something like that. You fill in. The rest of it will be multiple choice. It'll be very similar to it'll be very similar to the Kahoot, problems like that. I might pull some more questions from the PowerPoint, but only like the facts we've done. Like, for example, ionic compounds. They're usually solid at room temperature. They have high melting point. They're usually a metal and non-metal. Look back at the PowerPoint and notes I've provided. The vast majority of the test will be questions asking you, what is the name of this? How many valence electrons? What's the charge of that? Basically like a Kahoot. But there will be some other questions, like, also ionic differences. Is this an ion or ionic compound? Remember, it's greater than 1.7. You look at the difference in electronegativity. And I'm only giving you the top left portion of the off the ion, wherever the 8 versions are. You need to memorize per means add 1 oxygen. Ite means remove 1, and hypo means remove another. Any questions? So study your notes, everything we covered. You at least got all this right and understand that's the most difficult. The rest is just basically memorization. What are the properties of some ionic compounds? What's the formula unit? Definitions like that. If you don't know, go back and look at it. Look at the PowerPoint, so forth. Alright, that's it for today.